As large tropical storms and hurricanes emerge off the coast in the late summer and fall season, people bunker down their houses, city workers prepare for flooding, and your mom stocks up on food. My friends and I, however, welcome these storms with open arms and surfboards. In this speech, I will discuss the sport of surfing and what you do to prepare for a swell. I'll explain the swell and wind direction, favoring certain spots and over others, and I'll explain the challenge and award of surfing large and harsh swells. I'll start with what is surfing and how do surfers prepare for a swell. Surfing is a sport of catching and riding waves. You need two simple things, a board and, of course, waves. Many surfers tend to have different boards catered to their physical size and different wave conditions. Some boards are heavier for more windier conditions, while some boards might be lighter for less windy conditions. All surfboards require fins, wax, and usually when the waves are bigger, you would want a leash to prevent losing your surfboard. Anybody can surf on an average day, but true surfers anticipate the cold and ruthless storms in the fall and winter, making for the best waves of the year. However, in these harsh conditions, wearing neoprene wetsuits keeps you warm and comfortable as long as possible. There are different thicknesses of wetsuits for each weather or for each temperature. There is 3-2, which is for about like the fall and the summer, the 4-3 for when it gets colder, and the 5 mil for about the middle of winter. And you also want to be wearing booties and gloves. Now that we've established what surfing is and how to going back. It's also important to pack multiple pairs of clothes and rain gear to cover all expected weather when hopping on the road to find waves. Now that we established what surfing is and how to prepare for a swell, we'll discuss a whole new sport in and of itself, finding waves. As surfers on the East Coast, there are many challenges and factors when it comes to finding waves, compared to other places like the West Coast and islands, which receive many more ground swells. Ground swells come straight from the ocean's power, providing usually less wind and overall provides much cleaner waves. However, wind swells can be very tricky. There are usually only short windows when to surf, and the wind can change at any given time. Quick moving storms and harsh winds only provide short windows for surfable waves, like I said. As surfers, we look for offshore winds, which is coming from the land going towards the sea, to provide for the cleanest facing waves. There is a common fisherman saying, the calm before the storm, or the calm after the storm, which refers to good times to fish. We use these terms as good time to go surfing. You do not want to go surf in the middle of the storm when the storm's at its highest, but you want to find the windows in between the storm when the waves can go at ease and be surfable. Just like the winds, swells move at certain directions at all times. A beach where the swell comes straight at the land, moving opposite of the wind, will have the best shaping waves. For example, I live in Cape May, which faces northeast, Therefore, a southeast swell would be the best swell for my home, coming straight at the waves, and then therefore a north wind coming straight from the land, straight towards the waves would be the best for my condition. Obviously, these factors vary as you go up and down the coast. Now that we understand surfing and finding swells, we'll look at the difficulties and rewards of surfing extreme conditions. Surfing harsh conditions can be one of the most humbling experiences, but the thrill of getting the wave you came for is exhilarating. Surfing these challenging conditions, like I said, is also very dangerous. It's important to establish your own personal limits as a surfer. Currents can travel up to 13 feet per second, sweeping you miles down the coast within a blink of an eye. Harsh winds can create texture on the surface of the water. They can knock you off your board and will also sometimes blow you right off the top of the wave. However, the thrill of getting the wave you hope for, in and of itself, is self-rewarding and makes everything worth it. It can take you up to hours paddling around and fighting the current until you're even in position for a single wave. Surfers sometimes drive multiple hours on the road, wake up before dawn, check every possible spot, and paddle out in the middle of some of the most extreme weather. Knowing that all paid off will keep any surfer happy. Surfing? Now I'll review my speech. In my speech, we've learned that surfing is an enjoyable sport of riding waves that requires a surfboard and waves. Many surfers anticipate large storms and hurricanes off the coast to bring the best waves. We've learned that surfers must analyze all factors of swell and storm in order to find the best waves in their area. And finally, we've learned that while surfing in extreme conditions can be physically taxing and dangerous, the reward of catching a good wave is as addicting as any drug. As a surfer, it's the worst feeling in the world to scroll through Instagram at night and see all the footage of the waves that you missed. So don't be that person.
Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off.
I'm not turning it.
Okay. Thought you were gonna